Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Life of Shay. Of course, as I said in my first video, I am Deshay, and today I'm going to be talking about when my water broke. Of course, I have a daughter. Her name is Marley. Okay, the day my water broke, it was August the 27th, because I had her at 3:15 August the 28th in the morning. So, okay, first the day before, when I got off of work, I had to go to the hospital because I was having like really bad Braxton Hicks, and it was coming like really frequent. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's coming or something, because this is my first child, so I didn't really know too much about it. So I'm like, maybe she's coming. So I get there to the hospital. I ain't gonna put the hospital on blast or nothing, but that was the worst hospital that I will ever go to. I will never go to them ever again. Like, that was my worst experience being in the hospital. First of all, I got there. They was like trying to find my veins. They couldn't find my veins, so they kept poking me. I don't like needles at all, so I was just like, oh my gosh, like, is this what I'm gonna have to go through? So yeah, so I got there. They had me on the monitor, so they was like monitoring her heartbeat or whatever. And like it kept going down. So they had to put me on oxygen. And they had to check my cervix to make sure that I wasn't dilated, which I wasn't dilated. And like the lady that checked my cervix, she was so freaking rough with it. Like, she just like went up in there, and I'm like, you didn't even warn me. Like, at least warn me and tell me that you going up in there. So besides that, I had to stay overnight there because they said that her heart rate kept going down. So I had to stay overnight until the next morning so that I could get a ultrasound and make sure that she had enough fluid, like enough, water or whatever that stuff called. I forgot what it's called, in a uterus, because they thought that it was low. So I waited, and I was just in pain the whole night. Like, they didn't give me anything for my pain. Like, I did not sleep that entire day, the entire night. I was in so much pain. And then they kept giving me fluids through the IV, and I kept having to use the bathroom. So every time I had to use the bathroom, I had to keep calling the doctor, because I was hooked up to the baby thing. So she had to keep coming back and forth to do that. Like, they gave me so much fluids. Like, I was going to the bathroom every 5 minutes. So it was like not even a point of me going to man, it wasn't even a point of the doctor even leaving my room, because I just kept calling her and she was getting mad, and I'm just like, look, y'all the ones that's giving me these fluids, so I'm just gonna keep using the bathroom. So like, I was kind of scared, because I was thinking something was wrong when they told me that like her heart rate kept going down. But then that morning, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, I had to wait all that time in pain in that hospital. I think I went like 7 the night before, and then I didn't leave until 12 o'clock noon the next day. So they looked at her, they checked, and everything was okay. And they were like, well, after that, we'll give you your discharge papers and you can go home. So I came home maybe like 12 something, like close to 1 o'clock. Took a shower, and like I was trying to relax. Like, after I took a shower, I think I ate like something like really fast, like some quick food, because I was so hungry. Like, hospital food is not where that at all. So yeah, I got home, took a shower, ate a little bit, and then I got in the bed. And like I took like maybe a 2-hour nap, 3-hour nap, because as I said, like I was in so much pain. Even when I left the hospital, I was still in so much pain. So here comes the good part. So around 4 o'clock, I get this like really, really, really big contraction. So it was like a little bit of fluid that came out of me. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? So like I took my hand and I felt down there, and like it wasn't a lot, but it was I believe that it was my mucus plug. They never told me what it was, but I think it was my mucus plug. So that came out, and then so I was like, Evelyn was here. So she was in the kitchen with her brother, and I went and I was like, oh my gosh. Like I called her. I was like, Evelyn, I think my water broke. And she was like, stop playing. Your water did not break. And I'm like, Evelyn, I think my water broke. So she started getting nervous. I'm nervous. Like, my mother is not here. My mother is at work. She got to be to work. She worked from 3 to 11:30 p.m. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I called my mother. I'm like, Ma, I think my water broke. So she's like, are you sure? Are you sure? So I was like, I'm not really sure, but I know I felt water down there. So, okay. So she was like on the phone with me, and she was like, well, are you having contractions? Like, how far apart are your contractions and everything? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Like, I was like, I've been having contractions for like almost 2 days now. Like, I think it's contractions. Like, the doctors were like, they're contractions, but they're Braxton Hicks. They're not real. So I then had like a really, like it was so severe. A really, really big contraction, and like all of this liquid just came out at one time. Like it was so much. It didn't stop. Like it just kept coming out. It was all over my bed. Like all over my bed. So I'm like, my water just broke. Evelyn came in. I was like, Evelyn, look on this bed. And she was like, oh my God. So I'm panicking. I'm like, Ma, it's already rush hour. It's rush hour in Baltimore, because my mother live in Baltimore. Rush hour in Baltimore is nothing to play with. So it took her 40 minutes to get here, because my aunt brought her here. So it took her 40 minutes. So I'm like on the phone with her. I'm like, Ma, how far away are you? How far away are you? Every 5 minutes. Because now at this point, the contractions is no joke now. Like they coming and coming and coming and coming. And she just telling me breathe, telling me get up out the bed. I'm not getting out of this bed until you come here. If you don't come here, I'm not getting out of this bed. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta pee. So I ended up peeing on the bed because I was so scared to get off my bed. So I peed on the bed. Like it was so many liquids on the bed. It didn't make no sense. So my mother was like, okay, did you call Marley's dad? So I called him. Oh my God. So I called him. I'm like, he's just getting off work. Luckily, he was just getting off work. So I'm like, my water broke. So he's like, what? I'm like, my water broke. He's like, what broke on your car? Your brakes broke on your car? What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the baby is coming. Your baby is coming. So he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna go home. I'm like, go home, pack your bag, and come straight here. You gotta come straight here, because I don't know what time this baby is coming. So my mother and my aunt finally get here. I had to change my clothes. I had to wipe down there and stuff because it was so nasty. Like that liquid is so nasty. So my mother finally gets here. I change. They walked me downstairs because I live on the 3rd floor. So I walked all the way downstairs. I got in my car. I'm having contractions all the way to Baltimore City because I went to Johns Hopkins because I refused to go back to the hospital that I was at before. So I went to Johns Hopkins Hospital, and shout out to Johns Hopkins Hospital because they really did a good job with me, and I loved them for that. Like they were so patient with me, and like it was just like a really great experience. So once we pull up to Johns Hopkins, my mother called the security like, hey, she's in labor. So he hurries up and he grabs the wheelchair. I'm getting out the car. fluid, the water still coming out of me, all down the wheelchair. Everybody, or like all the patients that's waiting to be seen in the ER just looking at me like, and I'm like, like in the chair, really like trying to breathe through it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so much. So then I gets up to labor and delivery, and like they was like asking me questions, like all these questions, and I couldn't even think because the pain kept coming, like constant pain. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. Like, I just need to go and girl, what? I'm trying to do my video.
She need to blow. I need something to wipe her nose.
Gotta wipe her nose.
Where the wipes?
Here, let's use this.
Here we go.
What? Where we go?
Get out when she stop crying.
Oh, damn.
Ready, set,
That one is huge. I'm disgusted. So I won't top another bottle too.
Okay. Sorry, that was my sister with my daughter. So yeah, so she asking me questions. So I guess, I finally goes in the room. So the doctor gets in there and he's like, okay, we got to check to make sure it's your actual water, because they got these little stick things, like tape things, and once they put them down there, it automatically tell you, like, I think if it turns, it's like a blue stick, and if it turns green, then that means that your water broke. So automatically, like, the water was still, like, as I'm on the bed, so they tell you like to scoot all the way down. So as I'm on the bed, the water is still coming out. So he's like, well, yeah, I can see it already. So you don't even have to do all of that, because I can already see that your water broke. So he checked my cervix. That even hurt when they checked his cervix. But he was like, they were like so much more like gentle than the hospital that I was at. They were like so much more gentle. So I'm like, okay. And by the time he checked my cervix, by the time I got there, I was like almost 4 centimeters. I think it was like 3.5 centimeters. So he's like, if you want to get the epidural, we can go right into it, because you already almost 4 centimeters dealing with that pain. I'm like, yes, give me the epidural. So they transferred me to the actual room to deliver, and my grandmother was there, Evelyn was there, my mom was there, and then Marley's dad came. Shout out to all of them. So all of them were there, and like as soon as Marley's dad came in, like I was in the middle of a contraction, so when he came, like I just grabbed his hand and like really like squeezed it really hard, and then I felt him trying to push away, but he couldn't push away. It was just so funny. Like, that's the main thing that I remember. So I finally got the epidural. That didn't hurt at all. Like, I was so scared to get that because I thought it would be like a really like hurtful experience, but it didn't hurt at all. So I got it in like 5 to 7 minutes. Everybody had to leave the room. It was just me, the anesthesiologist, and the nurse in there. So he gave me that, and he did like the test shot of medicine. After that, like after about 5 minutes, I was good. I was like, yes. Legs started numbing, everything started numbing. So I'm like, all right, my family come in. Like at this point, we just waiting for the process. They got me hooked up. I'm listening to her heartbeat and stuff. Her heart rate was still going down, which was making me like really nervous. So I was just like praying like to myself, like, just please let everything be okay. So time was just going by. We were like talking, and I was trying to rest. So like around 1, I guess, they checked me again, and I'm like, maybe I'm just dilated a little bit more. So the doctor came in and he checked me again, and he was like, you're fully dilated. Are you ready to push? And like, I was just like, yes, do I have a choice? Like, I gotta push. So they get everything set up. Put my leg here, put the other leg there. I can't feel nothing. So the first push, I was pushing, but like I had to learn how to push because I couldn't feel much. So I was just like basically like pushing, like it was just too much. And you stop, you push, stop again, take a break, push, stop again, take a break, and then finally at 3:15 in the morning, Marley was finally born, and I was so excited. Everybody was so excited, taking pictures and everything. I even still have like the sonograms. This is when I found out that she was a girl. You can see there, and then it says girl there. I actually got this sonogram from Sweet Peak Sonography in Baltimore. I found out when I was 15 weeks my gender, actually. So it was like an early reveal. And then this one, you can see her smiling. And this one, I was 28 weeks and 6 days. Also, I like this was really cool. I also got this from Sweet Peak Sonography. It's a bear with my daughter's heartbeat inside of it. So like I listen to this all the time, and like I just love it. So I'm gonna let y'all hear it. Like they recorded her heartbeat from an ultrasound and they put this in there, and I just thought it was just so cool. So here, listen. Isn't that cool? I thought that was cool. So I always have my little baby's heartbeat with me forever and ever and ever. And when she's get older, I'm gonna show her this and I'll be like, that's you when you were inside of me. So yeah, that's the story about when my water broke. What I can say was it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because some people like tell you stories like, oh my gosh, it's the most excruciating. Like, don't get me wrong, it hurts, but it wasn't as bad. I can't speak for everybody else because everybody have different experiences. I was in labor for about 7-8 hours. Like once I got there, it was easy because I didn't have to deal with much pain because they gave me the epidural right off the back, period. So yeah, and now she's here, about to be 5 months this month on the 28th, and I'm going back to work this month. I don't want to leave her, but I have to work. I've been off of work for quite some time. It's time to go back to work to take care of my little girl. I had so much support from my mom, my grandmother, my brothers, my sisters, Evelyn, her dad. Everybody is so supportive, and I just thank them for everything. There's Evelyn. Want to say hi? Say hi. I'm finished with my story now. But yeah, as I was saying, I had so much support. And I just wanted to share that story with you guys because that story was like, it was just, everything was just happening so fast. So yeah. And if you like the story, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you didn't like the story, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.